So, welcome. This is podcast number 2 here with Taylor and Josh. Unfortunately, Chris couldn't make it due to a family emergency, so we're recording without him today. Um, as far as the prompts go for our podcast number 2, the first question we want to address is, what is the most significant problems you're facing with your product? Why and what are your solutions to these problems? Um, Josh, did you want to lay out some of the stuff we talked about?
Yeah, so a lot of the problems we're coming up with is just the limitations to our technology, especially like how exact they are because they're kind of all up in the air right now. So we're definitely going to need to nail those down. And then also another major one was the size and like how there's not really much that we can build in the Maker Lab for our prototype. So we were thinking we'll probably have to do a scaled up model. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, realistically trying to figure out how we're going to make this using the resources at hand and making it practical so that it's able to be represented visually. And yeah, definitely trying to figure out those limitations and stuff like that is definitely important. And some of the more, some of the biggest problems we have when it comes to our product as a whole. Um, the next question is, name 3 comments for your revision you gathered Thursday's class and that we plan on implementing. After going over the feedback sheets that we received from our classmates, um, 3 of the problems that we kind of want to address definitely is kind of the security and limitations, as we kind of touched on in the previous question. Um, Also, making the device, I guess, more comfortable to use. Lower profile design, making it less noticeable on your body, um, and also the kind of um, something that we thought was a cool idea is having pre-installed tags on certain pieces of like furniture or you know of different objects so that you could just pair with it and you don't have to buy separate tags. This is already pre-made into the whatever you're trying to move and able to more easily move um, kind of those objects in that way. Um, so yeah, anything else that you wanted to add, Josh?
No, I think it was good.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean these are definitely things that we need to think about going forward, and we will implement. Um, so the next question is, what challenges within your group you have faced within the last 2 weeks? Examining challenge examples of challenges might be scheduling, group personality dynamics, organization, or time management. And what are we going to do to overcome these challenges? Josh, you had something you wanted
Uh,
to add here?
yeah, so a big thing we noticed is that like especially I couldn't really agree on where we wanted to go with the technology because I really wanted to do more of a like brain like uh like a brain controlling interface where you'd have like control over the different processes in your brain so you'd be able to do different functions. But uh I thought that would be a like uh more interesting to me especially. But the other two in the group definitely wanted to go with the telekinesis. So we agreed to do telekinesis, and I'm enjoying this. So I think it's going to go really well. It's going to be great. But definitely just being more open to ideas and stuff is how we're going to solve this, and just being, just civil and talking about it and stuff.
Yeah, definitely, because that was kind of one of the bigger challenges is figuring out what we wanted to do for this prototype. Having free reign to think of whatever we could, and um, we had initially kind of bared down on telekinesis, and then, as you stated, Josh, you kind of wanted to go a different direction, but Chris and I thought that it was kind of a little, unfortunately, too late to change now because we're already 2 weeks into this 5 week course, so we just kind of had to stay the course, which unfortunately is just one of those things that happens sometimes where you know like you might think of a better idea or a different idea that might be more interesting or better to use, but with our time constraints it doesn't really make it feasible to change a whole lot at this time. um, and yeah, just being kind of respectful about how we to make our decisions and taking everybody's input into account is definitely a challenge that we've faced so far. And I think also with scheduling, I think that's going to be that's been a problem, and it's going to continue to be a problem because
Yeah.
all three of our lives are so vastly different. um, like Chris today couldn't be here because of outside issues that he can't control, and I have my own life and stuff, and so does Josh, and trying to figure out a time that we can all get together and really think about the work and do the work is going to be a challenge going forward, definitely. um, and I think to overcome these challenges, Josh already touched on it, I already touched on it, being respectful of each other, and and taking each other's ideas into account, and figuring out what's feasible and what's not feasible, and trying to work around our schedules the best we can. So anything you want to add on that front, Josh?
No, I think you summed it up great.
Cool. Perfect. So then we'll go into the next question. What steps have you taken to ensure your prototypes are completed on time? Have you scheduled preprints? Have you gathered supplies? What's our progress on low tech prototypes and storyboards? And uh, to be fully upfront and honest, we haven't really had much time to work on these kinds of things, especially with our reading presentation this past week, it being delayed as well, um, due to classmates not reading the material, has really taken a good chunk of time out of um, our ability to work on our prototype. But I think this upcoming week, it'll be great because we can focus on that aspect, getting time in the Maker Lab, meeting with the manager of the Maker Lab, figuring out what we can build in the Maker Lab, and then making a low tech prototype based on that. So I think this next week we'll definitely work harder on storyboarding, coming up with that low tech prototype, and meeting with the Maker Lab. Uh, Anything else you wanted to add there, Josh?
Yeah, definitely just gonna be working on contacting the Maker Lab guy and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. We just need to definitely spend time this week working and getting everything in order so that we can produce a successful low tech prototype, Kickstarter, and final prototype. Definitely is something we need to focus on. And then the last question that's on here is, what do you need for me to be more successful, Professor? And I think that in speaking with Josh before recording this, we agreed that like the constructive feedback is going to be key, and kind of giving us suggestions in our blind spots as far as you know where the directions we should take this technology, and kind of what we need to focus on, kind of rein us in, from thinking too wildly and more focus on getting, you know, getting through the process, as successfully as we can. Um, yeah, anything you want to add, Josh, on top of that?
no,
No, yeah,
just you know, constructive criticism.
yeah, definitely, because that's a big part of like trying to make sure that we're doing the work that is expected of us, and also you know making sure we do the work the best we can you know
Not going anywhere crazy that we can't achieve.
right, yeah, and something that our two, like if we go too pie in the sky, and we end up chasing down something that's not gonna, benefit our project in any way and could cause issues. So keeping on track, constructive feedback. Um, yeah, and so far the help that you professor have provided has been really good, really great so far. So no complaints here. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for podcast number 2. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Yeah.